All right. So introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Cassandra Nevarez, and I am an athletic trainer at IMG Academy.
Nice, nice. I'm gonna open up with the question that I ask everybody. What's something in the field of it could be, sports medicine, strength and conditioning, exercise science. What's a hill that you're willing to die on, and what's something that you've changed your mind on within the last year?
I'm gonna go with the second part of the question first, and
Okay.
what I've changed my mind on in the last year. I've always thought I've wanted to work with collegiate athletes and collegiate athletes only. During my clinical rotation in school, working with high schoolers was like my least favorite thing, and I was
Mm.
like, I will not work with high schoolers. I want to work with adults. But working at IMG, I've actually really enjoyed working with high schoolers. So that is something that I've definitely changed my mind on. I would love to go back to the collegiate level, but also I'm okay where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I'm really
Okay.
enjoying it.
Very
A hill
nice.
that I will die on is just really trying to get the athletes to buy in on taking care of their bodies at a young age. I think it's really important to start that process now because as they excel in sports and get a higher level, they will hopefully look back and be like, wow, I'm glad I started these habits really, really early. So just
Yeah.
finding ways to get them to buy in.
Understandable. With the first one, what's made you change your opinion between working college and high school?
In college, they're adults. They're usually over 18 years old. Here and there, you'll get the 17-year-olds. So they can pretty much make their own decisions, and you don't have to talk to parents as much. They kind of loop their parents in on what's going on. You have to talk to them here and there. In high school, with them being minors, there are certain things you cannot do, and you have to involve the parents a lot. Every single thing that happens, you have to let them know. I'm constantly messaging
Mm.
parents, letting them know what's going on, talking to them on the phone, everything. So it's kind of hard to like be able to go from start to finish. There's a lot of things you have to do in the middle when it comes to working with high schoolers.
Okay. So what made you change your mind then between wanting to work college to wanting to work high school?
Well, you kind of pushed me to
Oh,
apply to
okay.
IMG. I never really like thought, I'd want to work with the high school population until you brought up, maybe just try it and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up working out for the best. So I guess it really wasn't a decision. It was just kind of like a kind of just happened. And I'm
Okay.
really glad that it happened.
Very nice. Let's go right into a hard question here. So why do you think that our field, athletic training, strength and conditioning coaches, why are we underpaid and underappreciated? What's your opinion on that?
It kind of confuses me because sports make the world go around.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually just in Italy for a work trip, and we were at Juventus Residency Academy for the younger kids, and there was coaches who spoke Italian and their English wasn't very good, and then all of our coaches speak English. And it was just kind of cool to see that even though we didn't speak the same language, the coaches were still able to talk about sports
Right.
and understand each other and know who the players are and still talk about soccer, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, that
So
is
I,
pretty
I'm
cool.
kind of confused on how sports make the world go round, but people who work in sports don't get paid enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Because
some,
you have to have a master's degree for athletic training,
I
right?
do,
Yeah.
I
And
do.
what was the entry level salary for you with the athletic training job when you graduated?
It depends by state,
Yeah.
really.
Okay.
But my entry level paying job was $46,000 a year,
Yeah, and that's
which,
after having the masters, right? And
yes,
and you guys have to have a board certification.
we
You got to
do.
pay for that
We have to have
also, right?
a board certification and we have to have a state licensure.
Yeah.
So we have
So
to
it
meet
ain't
all
cheap
that.
to
No,
get to be an
it's
athletic
not.
trainer.
And you have to have a state licensure for every single state. And those
Hmm.
like costs vary depending on
Yeah, that
which
adds
state you're
up.
in. It does.
Hmm. Wow. So I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you were saying that it's pretty cool that all the coaches knew how to or how to communicate, but you're not sure why people in sports don't get paid.
I'm really not sure. It honestly like blows my mind that sports workers, besides athletes usually get a decent amount of pay now with
Yeah.
like NIL and everything, but it's like what goes on in the background people kind of forget about, like
Hmm.
we like
For support staff, at least.
exactly. And it's
Yeah.
like we are now starting to get more like we're being appreciated more, I guess.
Hmm.
But like that doesn't really show like pay wise.
Yeah, yeah. In my opinion, I think our predecessors in the field have done us somewhat of a disservice, and you can blame those who are not high achievers for the low pay grades. I think a lot of people get confused and they think that if you work in sports, whether it be, high level like IMG or colleges, professional teams, that everybody is a high level worker. And, in my opinion, from working at various places and different levels, I just don't think that's the case. I think that, if you work at somewhere that is championship caliber, it clearly shows you the difference between what it takes to be at that caliber and then just everybody else. Even within, the same ranks of, we'll say Power Four colleges, there's just a massive difference between the top tier and just everybody else. Specifically, I think, in my experience, prior to meeting you, I have not been a fan of many athletic trainers.
So you told me.
Yeah, they didn't take care of me in college,
Yeah.
and I felt like for the most part, it was like you have an injury, to looking something up off of Google, and it's like
Yeah.
you do the work. It's like, my example, I had shin splints in college, never had shin splints before, and they had me stretch my calves, put heating pads on, and I end up doing that for like 2 years and the pain never goes away. So in my mind, I'm like, somebody like doesn't know how to do their job. And, I think it just comes down to learning how to do your job. And, I think that was just, somewhat of a lazy approach from the athletic trainers, having me do the same thing. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results and
Yeah.
expecting it to work. Same thing going with my field, strength and conditioning. I think that, there's been a lot of coaches that are, somewhat of take a conservative approach and, speaking to, let's use girls soccer for an example, because that's where you work. If me as a strength and conditioning coach, if I can add, let's say 20 pounds to the girls bench press, on one hand, did I do my job as a strength and conditioning coach? Yeah, because I made them stronger. But am I translating that 20 pounds on bench press? Am I making them better at soccer? No. So
Yeah.
it's treated almost as like a luxury. Like, oh, we have a strength and conditioning coach, but they're just going to get us stronger in the weight room. And that's something that I said on my last podcast. My hot take for strength and conditioning is, I don't care about strength as a strength and conditioning coach. I think that it's a byproduct of expressions in the weight room, but I think you have to look at it from the lens: is it helping the athletes get better? And so ultimately, I think that for me and you, our fields are unappreciated because we have these ideologies that are taught to us through college or through our certifications on this is how it has to be, this is how you do your job. But ultimately, you have to have that freedom to think, is this helping the athletes get better on the field? Because ultimately, that's my job as support staff.
Yeah. If I went by the book on everything, nothing would be fixed. Nothing would ever feel better. You
Yeah.
always have to think outside the box and put your own little like thoughts into it because that's how things get done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like for you, like, if you just do by the textbook, like, yeah, your kids are going to get stronger, but like, are they having fun?
Are they bought in? Yeah.
Yeah, like it's all about getting them to buy in. That's the biggest part. If you can get them to buy in, they will start to trust you, which
Mm-hmm.
is like a really, really, really big aspect of our jobs because it's like we're helping them set up for their future in sports and like that shouldn't be taken lightly.
It is.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately it is. And I'm hoping that I can make a difference and try to, get my girls on my side and
Mm-hmm.
I mean any athletes I work with in the future, but it's all about like getting them bought in and I think if not everybody's on the same page, it's like they come from a place where they weren't bought in at all. So and then now they're older and it's like how can I get them to buy in when their
Mm-hmm.
brain is already close to maturing and they're set in their ways?
Right. Because
Struggle.
ultimately, once you get that buy and you build that relationship, then you can somewhat think outside of the box. Like, we use the example, the artificial hamstring you created last year.
It wasn't the hamstring, it was the PCL.
PCL, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Talk about that.
So I had this athlete and they were having some knee problems and they're already hyperextended as is. Like they just had more genuine cavatum in their knees, which, some people have more than others, completely normal. Just depends on your anatomy. But they were struggling with one hyperextending more than the other. wasn't really getting any positive test on it. Athlete really wasn't in a lot of pain, but it affected the way they were running and the way they were cutting. And in their sport, they had to do a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Their sport was played on their legs. They had to be quick. They had to be able to start fast, stop fast, all of that. So my mind was, okay, how can we make the knee not hyperextend as much? Trial and error, and you actually helped me with it as well. You just had to get the right tension on the band. So what you did was, if you look at the ACL to PCL, they cross over like this: ACL's in front, PCL's behind.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to get the knee not to hyperextend, you had to put a band going behind the knee the same way that the PCL goes. So you want to mimic that PCL with the band.
Right.
So you want to attach it with anchors at the top and the bottom. So you needed basically two people to help make this, makeshift PCL. So you would pull the band super tight, have the kid hyperextend, see if that was enough tension. If it wasn't enough, kind of just fix it. Because I love involving the kids in their like process of care. Like,
Right.
if this doesn't feel right for you, like, then I want to put in the work to make it feel right. I don't have to go out there and play with it. You do. So like, I need you to tell me what you need, what you don't need. Just like, please tell me what you need. That's my biggest thing.
And in my opinion, dealing with athletic trainers, that seems like a vastly different approach than most trainers telling you, like, no, this is what you need, this is what you're doing.
And you can talk scientific all you want. Like, yes, you can give them the scientific, but most of the times, a lot of kids don't understand human anatomy. They don't understand.
Yeah,
Just don't
they don't know what a
understand.
PCL
So
is.
you explain all this to them, and they look like a deer in
Yeah.
headlights because they just don't understand.
Knee
But
bad. Need more structure.
yeah,
Use band, make knee structure.
So like, I almost use reverse psychology, and I give them the scientific, but then I also make it in plain language where they can understand. And I like to give them options, but then I circle back to my idea because I get them to trust me by explaining it in a way they can understand. But anyways, back to the PCL, anchor it down, have them do a few, test jogs, test runs in the middle of the game, or, middle of practice, always check on them. Hey, how's it going? Do we need to fix it? Do we need to change anything? Basically, just making the athlete as comfortable as possible. And that's just like my goal, like in my career, is like, I don't have to go out there and play with it. You do. You tell me what you need.
Yeah.
So.
And it worked for him. He was able to finish out the season.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now that seems like, an unconventional strategy. And I want to say another thing that I think slows our field down is people scared to experiment and make mistakes, thinking that they're going to hurt athletes. Like, I hear it a lot in my field. Oh, we can't have them do that. They'll get hurt. And I'm like, we're like, let's use a football player for example. One of the most violent sports there is. You're running into each other. You're crashing. It's unpredictable on the field. You can get blindsided. Wouldn't you think that the weight room doing some type of box and hurdle jump is the safest area for them to practice solving movement problems?
Yes.
We're in a closed environment.
Yes.
Nobody's going to hit you. You can practice until you get it right. So it's like, why do you think people are so scared to experiment and think that athletes are so fragile in our field?
I think that people are just afraid of being uncomfortable. I think people are afraid to feel uncomfortable and make other people uncomfortable, but the best way to grow is to be uncomfortable.
You gotta be, yeah.
Like, you have to be uncomfortable. And like, as an athlete, which people don't understand, is like, you put your body on the line. To be an athlete, you have to do hard things. You also get to do easy things, and you do very uncomfortable things. And it's like, shouldn't you know that going into a sport? That's what I always try to tell my athletes. It's like, you're going to be uncomfortable. Things are going to hurt. You have to be healthy, because the only thing making you be able to play this sport is your body. So it's like, you got to train hard if you're going to play hard. It's just like.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of take the approach from Ray Lewis. He said, I get paid to practice. Playing games, that's for free.
Yeah, that's
his mindset was like, he practiced, insanely hard so that the games were easier. And there's a decent amount of coaches, I think. Now, obviously, it depends on your sport. You might not have to practice, tennis too hard. But a lot of coaches think that, you practice hard, it makes the game so much easier. So that's kind of my approach, in the weight room. I'm going to make you do, some hard things, make you, use some rhythm, use some coordination, land on one leg, hop around. I'm going to make it hard That way, you know, if it happens in a game, if you have to jump over somebody and land on one leg, it's not going to be the first time that you've practiced
Yeah,
that, because that's when the injuries
and
happen.
your body's ready for it. Like you've done
Yeah, your
this
body's ready.
before. Like
Exactly.
if you don't train the way you play, then it's like that's when you get injured because things come as a surprise to you, which should not be the case.
Yeah, yeah. I think that you know, strength is only one part of the equation. You have to have the ability to, for your brain to sense, you know, the proprioceptively where you are in space, where the ground is, and how you can safely, you know, land on the ground
Mm-hmm.
without getting hurt.
I agree.
Yeah. Um, with rehab programs and whatnot, what's your take on that? Do you think that athletes should have more control, more input, and more how could I say this, accountability for their own rehab, or do you think that it's the athletic trainer's job to more so hold their hand through the process there?
I think it could go a lot of different ways. Like, so we obviously work in an academy, high
Mm-hmm.
school, where it's like they have so many resources. So for these kids, I'm like, yes, I think, you're here for sports. You should, seek out everything that's available to you so you are able to take that on in your career, like take that further in your career. But then also in a traditional high school setting where you only have one athletic trainer to like 600 kids, I think it is a bit harder. I do think those athletes most of the time don't want to go on to play college sports. They're just kind of doing it to be a part of a team, to make
Mm-hmm.
friends. But at the academy level where we're at, I think it's really important that the kids, see that they have all of this accessible to them and at least hopefully be curious about what can they do to make themselves stronger, what can they do to not get injured, what can they do, just like I just wish we had more curious minds
Mm-hmm.
about taking care of the body because your body is what gets you through sport, and if your body's not healthy it's really hard to try to get through sport.
Yeah. Do you guys do any type of like education in the training room aside from like when somebody's injured and you're explaining to them personally? Like, do you guys have like any charts there? Do you like offer any I don't know, do you guys ever like speak to the team ahead of time, like all together about anything?
We try. I so actually right now one of our projects as a department of athletic training, what we're working on is developing and creating rehab protocols. And actually, my part of the project is how can we get kids to buy in from
Mm-hmm.
ages, we have ages from like 12 to 13 all the way up through 19 years old. And it's like,
Yeah.
how can we get every single age to buy in on rehab? Like, so I'm making a questionnaire with questions to ask kids. My biggest thing is I want athletes to have a voice because what I'm doing might not work for this person. It might work for this person, but like everybody's different. So I want as many ideas as I can get
Mm-hmm.
so I can not only collaborate with my coworkers, but also the athletes on how do we make this better. So I would say some athletic trainers do it better than others, but also like hopefully next year after this project is over, everybody's kind of on the same page and we can do a little bit better job with that.
Okay. That makes sense. So with that, how do you plan on assessing like what the athletes want? Like, have you gotten that far into it? Is there a
Not
process?
quite yet. So we just started this project a few weeks ago. So we're in the very early stages of it. We do have a lot of good ideas on, what steps they're going to take throughout the project to get to our end goal. But right now it's just in the making, very beginning. Haven't done much other than collaborate with each other.
I see.
Yeah.
And a little bit different of a question, but what do you think as an athletic trainer? You know, working at IMG, I assume you guys got the creme de la creme of equipment, like everything you would need in there, right?
Yes.
Does that make a difference for you, or as an athletic trainer, do you only need like certain basics, or what do you think about like the varying states of supplies and equipment available to you in the training room?
Obviously, the more the better.
Mm-hmm.
But, equipment, modalities, machines, all that stuff they're very expensive. So we are very lucky and very blessed to have the equipment and the resources that we do.
Right.
I think with the amount of stuff I have at IMG, I am able to do more with my kids, like Hivamat. Not a lot of places have a Hivamat, which helps with like swelling and pain, and it's just something that you don't see in a lot of places unless you have a big budget.
And what is that again?
Hivamat, basically, so if you have an area with large swelling,
Okay.
you want to get that fluid moving around in there, so it's not just sitting in one spot. So Hivamat has vibrations that go through your body to kind of move that fluid that's sitting there around. So it helps with the lymphatic system.
So is that different? Like, are we talking a massage gun, or what does the
No,
actual Hivamet
so
look like?
it's a machine. There's like a big machine, but a lot of people nowadays use a small handheld machine. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
little machine. It has two cords that come out of it. One is for electricity. So in order for the Hivamat to work, you have to have electricity going through your body. And
Kind
there's
of like a TENS unit.
kind
Similar?
of not real kind of like,
Okay.
so there's two different ways you can do it. The person can do it themselves, where you have a metal rod that connects to one of the cords, and like for a lot of my athletes, I'll either like put it between their toes or have them hold it with their thumb over it, because you need
Okay.
connection.
And that's no matter where the injury is, or you
Yep.
have
Nope.
with
No
the.
matter where the injury
Oh,
is, you just
okay.
need electricity going through your body.
Oh,
And then there's
interesting.
like a little wand you can use. So if you put baby powder on your skin as a medium, so it glides nice, as soon as you touch your skin and you turn the Hivamat up, you get vibrations.
This sounds like sorcery.
It's awesome. You've never seen one?
I've never seen a
Okay,
Hivamet.
you'll have to come see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that
Or
out.
there's another way where, like, say one of my girls sprains her ankle and she has a lot of swelling, and the swelling's just not going down after a few days. She holds on to the metal. I put a like pad on my arm, like from like a stim unit.
On your arm?
Yes, on
Okay.
my arm, to make sure electricity is going through me and the athlete. So now we're connected with the machine.
Uh-huh.
And you put baby powder, same thing as a medium. You have to wear gloves. If you don't wear gloves and protect your skin, it can shock you.
Like a static shock kind of
Yes.
thing? Okay.
So now the electricity is going through all three of us, the machine, the athlete, and myself. I touch the athlete. Now the vibration is going through my hands into the ankle,
Wow.
where I can kind of do a massage, and the vibration is helping me move all that fluid at the same time.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, so like resources like that are amazing. Whereas my last school, we didn't have that, so we had to find and think of other ways to handle a situation like that.
Right. I think you guys had you had the TENS unit, right?
Yeah.
And was ultrasound?
Ultrasound, usually like stim, ultrasound are all in the same machine usually.
Gotcha, okay.
But like the portable ultrasound machines where you can like carry around with you is just like stim.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I saw something new in the training room the other day. What was the red light thing that
Oh, red light therapy. Oh, the CareWare. Yeah, so it's just like a little pad, and it has like a little baby machine on top of it, and you connect them together and it turns on red light. So like we also have red light like sleeves and stuff, but like if you're trying to target a small area, the CareWare that you saw me use can like really target that small area and like stick to the skin, so it has a good connection. Whereas like the other red light, you just lay over the skin and it does its thing. But I think this one is just a little bit more, I guess, personal with the skin and the injury that you're trying to heal.
Right. So would you say that would be useful, like if you got kicked or took a ball or something like to the thigh, you had like a big knot or a bruise, you could throw that on there?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You definitely could. And it's nice because that is something that's really small. Pack an athletic training kit. Don't have a lot of room in there sometimes when you try to have everything that somebody could possibly need. You can stick that in there easily and take it on the road with you or wherever you need it.
Interesting. Okay. Let's talk about, so for the youth athletes, whether they be, middle school, high school, college, who don't have access to an athletic trainer, or who, maybe they don't want to go to the athletic trainer. What are some things you think that are extremely beneficial that they can do on their own, like relatively low cost kind of things to ease with pain?
So sometimes I give my athletes exercises, and we use some, stuff in the athletic training room, but they ask, hey, I want to continue my rehab this weekend, but I don't have this, and this. There's things that you can do. Like things around the house that you can use. You can use a towel to do, ankle exercises. And if you don't have a band, if you want to do single leg balance, you can fold up a blanket or a pillow to have uneven surface. It's just like thinking outside of the box. Like you don't have this, but what is similar to this that you can use? Yeah. And the internet is a wonderful thing nowadays.
It really is.
Look it up on the internet. tell the internet what's going on, and it can help you at least with the basics. And to tell the internet, I don't have this. What can I use instead? And it'll literally tell you. I mean, you
Chat
can
GPT.
no.
No, don't use
I
chat.
You can, but I would prefer just like using regular Google. Like
Okay.
that works just as well.
Yeah. Well, there's relatively some low cost options. Like, you can get a foam roller at Five Below.
Yeah.
That definitely helps with, increasing some oxygenated blood.
Yes, but working with the younger population whose parents either aren't around, like because like at IMG it's a boarding school, or whose parents don't have a lot of money and the kids don't have a car. Sometimes getting to things like that can be challenging. So it's like my big thing is always, do you have a dog at home?
Mhm.
Yeah. Does your dog have a ball? Yeah. Use that to roll out. It's right there. It's already there. You don't have to spend any extra money. It'll work just as good.
Find a lacrosse ball. They're always at every field.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah. Or even, cupping sets aren't that expensive.
No.
What, $20 on Amazon?
But with the younger population, you have to be careful. You know how many times I've seen cup marks on the face and on the spine and just where they shouldn't be.
There's probably not too many injuries that you need one on the forehead.
I've seen literally cup marks on a kid with making a 6-pack. So it's like sometimes with stuff like that, yes, it's really good, really useful, but
they like to play with the technology,
yes.
Use the technology.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any advice or easy exercises? What do you think the most common like injuries for the youth athletes would be, or maybe not injuries, but sore things that kids are coming in for?
Yeah.
What are the more popular things?
Knees.
Like a jumper's knee kind of thing, tendon pain in the knees?
Starting, high level sports really fast, really young, when you're not done growing can cause, an increase of pain in the joints.
Yeah.
Growth plates are still open, they're still growing.
That specializing in sport at an early age will get you.
Yes, sometimes it can be kind of dangerous because it makes these kids in chronic pain, which makes them not want to do their sport anymore. Yeah. So it's just basic strengthening. These kids are so young, they don't have a lot of muscle in their body yet, so they're really relying on a lot of ligaments and tendons sometimes. So I think it's great that you want your kid playing a high level sport, but also I think we need to be a little bit more intentional with your side, making them strong so they are pain free when they play sport, and they're a good competitor against the person they're playing against, because if you're strong, that helps you with everything.
Right. Yeah. So would you say that for a middle school baseball player, you think money would be better spent on, let's say, fall strength and conditioning at a private facility, whatever, opposed to paying for the travel team year round?
Depends. If the athlete is in a lot of pain, yes.
Okay.
But if some athletes can just do it, some athletes can just get through it, and props to them. But it's those kids who it takes them a little bit longer to be able to feel good in sport. And if it's that kid, then yes, I think it would be more beneficial strengthening in the off season rather than playing all year round. But also it comes down to, do the parents understand? Yeah. Do the parents understand sport? Do they understand the demand? Do they understand the human body? Most of the time, no. So that's where it's like, if you listen to your kid, sometimes kids just like to complain, but also if they're telling you over and over again, hey, my elbow literally hurts so bad and it hasn't stopped hurting, maybe that's where you slow down, and it's like, oh, you're throwing 100 times every single day. That's not normal, and your elbow should not be hurting.
Yeah, you're right. I think that, something difficult for us to navigate specifically, we talk a lot on this podcast about the early specialization in youth sports, and how, there's a lot of thought that it's better to play a variety of sports. But, at IMG, that's not a thing. We'll take kids that, might start middle school or they might start high school, but they're playing the same sport all year round. We don't really have an off season at IMG. For you guys specifically, your soccer teams, y'all play year round. Yes. It's not like y'all have a fall preseason and play your games in the spring. Any thoughts you have on how the athletes can better take care of their bodies if they are, in that environment where they're early specializing?
I think if you're already early specializing, just stick to your sports schedule. You have a lot of athletes, not just soccer players, every athlete. They go to camps over the weekend at colleges and
Mm-hmm.
they go to all these different, just like named camps to be seen by, like,
Showcases.
yeah,
Yeah.
these coaches and these coaches. And it's like, you're already hurting. Why would we add this on top of your plate if what we're doing right now is too much already?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in the summer, that gives them a lot of freedom. And they think, oh, I need to go do this, this, and this because I can't do this throughout the school year.
Right.
I always tell my girls, whether it comes to the weekend or go be a kid, you are still a kid.
Gotta
You
be.
have time. When you go to college, that is going to be your life. You have time right now to still go and do things you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it does come down to the parents. Kids can ask for things, but it's like, what do the parents want them to do?
Yeah.
What do the parents think that would be best for them? I just try to tell them in between all of it, just try to be a kid still.
Okay. Good advice. I think, it's a little bit different on my side of things. I try to target those areas that pop up as frequent injuries because, the data is out there on, what the most popular injuries are, for middle school, high school baseball players. The average age of having to get a Tommy John surgery is drastically dropping now. It's almost like if you find a kid who plays competitive baseball, they're pretty much having a Tommy John surgery before they're age 16. Soccer, popular thing, hamstrings, because
Yeah.
with all of these, tournaments, because, it's not like they're playing one game on a weekend like, most high school sports. Our 17 and 19s 2 weekends ago, they played 6 games over the weekend.
Yep.
So obviously, there'll be some rotation of the players in there. You might not play, all 90 minutes of that of all 6 soccer games, but still, that's a lot of volume you're getting in there. So, and in my opinion, when it comes to the weight room, you got to identify, what are the areas that are most frequently going to pop up. So, like I said, for the baseball players, those elbows; for the soccer players, those hamstrings, and we've got to target that stuff in the weight room. So for the baseball players, got to build strong shoulders, got to have strong rotator cuff muscles. For the soccer players, got to have strong hamstrings, got to have hamstrings that are used to sprinting, plyometrics, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. You also have to have strong glutes and strong feet.
Yeah,
Feet.
got to have strong feet.
Because, like, that's your foundation.
Yeah,
Like, that's what you use to play sport, whether you play upper body, lower body. You have to have strong legs in order to support you.
you got to, and that's why I'm a fan of doing barefoot training in the weight room,
Yeah.
especially for our warm ups and our plyos, hopping around, laying on barefoot. Especially since you're in the cleats for how many hours out of the day? Tight
Yeah.
cleat, and nobody wants to wear loose cleats.
No.
Everybody wants tight cleats.
Yeah.
I understand that you got to cut and jump, but you got to strengthen the foot somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we able to strengthen that foot in the weight room? And I think it's, in my opinion, it's somewhat archaic that you got to have shoes on in the weight room. People say, oh, you'll slip. Well, it's not like I'm doing skater jumps on the wood platform in
Yeah.
here. Most of our platforms either got rubber or we've got turf. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's move around. Let's get the feet used to gripping the ground.
Yeah.
Again, I think it comes back to, oh, well, if the athletes aren't wearing shoes, what if a plate falls on their foot and they get hurt? Well, what if an athlete steps in front of a golf cart or steps off of a curb? Because that happens as well. I don't think that we can get caught up in playing this what if game when it comes to athletes. I just think that, that's an excuse that you can use for almost everything on why you shouldn't do something.
I think there's a time and a place for what ifs, but also I think it's more beneficial to take a risk to see what can happen. Because if you don't take risks, then you're going to be scared to do everything.
Yeah, if we didn't take risks and try new things, we'd still be doing the same old strength training or athletic training that we did back in 70s, 80s when the fields first started coming around. Anything else that you have thoughts on athletic training? Anything else before wrap this up?
Just think outside the box, really. I just think that for, I guess, future athletic trainers, ask questions. Because like in school they teach you, it's a 2-year program. They teach you the human anatomy, they teach you the very basic rehab exercises, but you get into clinicals when you're like, whoa, this is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This is way different than what we learned in class. So like ask questions, be curious, like do things that you don't see other people doing. Give it a try. But also like find your own sort of like way of doing and being an athletic trainer. Don't just follow the book, or you see your coworker doing something, then you just start doing that every single time. Like try to be different, try to make a difference, advocate for your athletes, teach them how to advocate for themselves because that's really important because nobody's playing the sport but them. They are the one putting in the work every single day. They are the one going through the discomfort and pain. And I just think that if you go into athletic training, just having an open mind and yeah, it's just be different.
Wise words. Be different. Don't be afraid to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate your time, Cassandra. Maybe I'll see you at work tomorrow.
You probably will.